Chatfield steps into one that goes high off the glass. And this is going to be a break coming the other way. Here's Farabee. Farabee in. Kochetkov. Niet. Through. Breaking down the middle. Kochetkov on Frost.
What a decision. Because Frost had his head down. That's the right time to use it. You know, by the time he looked up, that Kochetkov stick is already there.
It's coming the other way, though. It's Blake out in front. They score! Jaccob Slavin reading the play. Offense from the defense, and the Canes take a 1-0 lead. Across for Aho. Back for Slavin. Back to Aho. Tees it up. Game over! He does it again. The 5th time this year. Sebastian Aho wins it in overtime.
Welcome to the Canes Corner podcast, everyone. I am Adam Gold. Apologize for my tardiness. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. That's right there in the lower right-hand portion of your screen. We're live on YouTube like we always are. And we always invite you to like, subscribe, rate, review, all of those things that you would otherwise do with podcast, only with this one. And we would appreciate you telling your friends, spreading the Hurricanes word, because I have it on good authority. If we can get this sucker up to like 10,000 regular viewers, the Hurricanes will score regularly on the power play. So really, it's up to you guys. So for all the people who ask me questions, what's wrong with the Hurricanes power play? Not enough of you guys watching. Sorry. Hate to put the onus on you, but I really think it's a Caniac problem more than anything else. I just made that up. All right, let's have a little fun. Talk about a win that had to have. And I'm probably not the only one that feels this way. But today was a weird feeling game. And I want to start with the atmosphere inside the arena. And we all take pride in this as Hurricanes fans. We take pride in the fact that Lenovo Center, the old PNC Arena, the old RBC Center, the old Entertainment and Sports Arena, is, when the Hurricanes are rolling, one of the great buildings in the National Hockey League. It wasn't today. So this brings me back to the same thing, and I'm not going to spend any, significant time on it, but we have been spoiled here. This Hurricane season is not going the way we all want, even though they are absolutely right now in a great position to not only make the playoffs, but, man, in the Eastern Conference, is anybody that good? So, but today was a woof inside Lenovo Center. I was making library jokes. I was probably making inaccurate references to the Dewey Decimal System. But honestly, what a lifeless building. Yeah, I know. I've said this before. The building it's not automatic. The building doesn't come pre-juiced for the players. Today was bad, though. It was I was stunned at how quiet the entire first period was. We're in the 5th floor, so we're all the way up top. You could hear the players talking to each other. Not on the bench, but I'm talking about communicating on the ice. You could clearly hear players on the ice talking. That never happens in this building. But again, this is what happens when the team hasn't played to the standard that the team has developed and that the fans, have grown accustomed to. So, well, it's jarring to feel this building without life. Now, it certainly came to life when Jaccob Slavin scored the goal that made it 1-0, and it came to life when Sebastian Aho won it. But it was not a great building today. And the players needed to bring their own energy. I joked before the game with Rod Brindamore, maybe you should have somebody fight to start the game. And he went, no. Well, maybe. And hey, in a moment of weakness, the head coach is like, yeah, maybe we should do that. I don't know. Maybe they will. But I was just a little taken aback by the lack of energy in the building. But again, you go back to it's not just yesterday. It's not just a 2-1 loss to Edmonton, who I guess we forget that Edmonton was in the Stanley Cup Finals in a Game 7 last year. Look, it was a messy game, really both ways. There were a billion turnovers between the two teams yesterday. But that was a game that Carolina could have easily won. So it wasn't a terrible game. Frankly, yesterday's game, way more entertaining than today's game. Way more entertaining. If you were trying to sell the sport to somebody, you wouldn't show them today's game. Hell no, you wouldn't show them today's game. You would show them yesterday's game, because yesterday's game had a lot more action. It was just kind of messy. But if you were going to pick one of the two games against the province of Alberta this weekend here in Raleigh, it would have been yesterday's, not today's, because growing the game, we were not through 40 minutes. But the Hurricanes had a 1-0 lead. So it's just a drab game that, for obvious reasons, it almost felt at the end as though, thank God we didn't lose, as opposed to, yay, go team, we won. It was more, man, I'm glad we didn't lose this game. So now let's go through a couple of things. Start with the two goals. Really, the second goal is the second goal, but because I think the first goal, so much good in the first goal. Taylor Hall makes the play defensively in his own end to hit on Nazem Kadri. It's late in the second period. And I thought, man, we're going to go to the third period without a goal. Man, we're going to bore each other to death. But Hall makes a good play on the left half wall in the defensive end. He pins Kadri to the wall. Actually, Kadri goes down trying to draw a penalty. He did eventually. We'll explain in a minute. Slavin picks up the puck, skates it out, gets it across to Jackson Blake, and then Blake passes it back to Slavin as he's driving towards the net down the left side. One just punches it home. Great pass, great finish. Slavin smashes it into the net. He's okay. It didn't hurt. He said he didn't hurt. It did not hurt him afterwards. So great goal, and it got the period, got the juice in the building. It only took 39 and a half minutes to do that. When I say that Nazem Kadri drew a penalty on the play, he tried to. Well, he succeeded. He just drew it on himself for unsportsmanlike conduct. So the Hurricanes started the third period in the power play, finished the second, started the third period in the power play, but it wasn't any good, as was the power play today. Now, it wasn't as bad as the 3 first-period power plays against Edmonton yesterday. Those were soul-sucking. So today, it was just frustrating. Because actually, in the first period, I think the Hurricanes had 2 power plays in the first period. I think the Canes actually had a couple of really good looks. Not a lot, but they did have some good looks in the first period. It just didn't go. And they occasionally had some juice on power plays the rest of the way. Seth Jarvis, I thought, missed a great opportunity on one. But for the most part, they're just looking to be too perfect. I keep wondering when it's going to click. And if you go back to the power play in the third period against Edmonton yesterday, why did that power play succeed? Because everything moved quicker. Look, they don't need a power play coach because everybody does the same type of thing on the power play, first of all. Some teams just have better skilled players on the power play. We're just going to have to understand that. But ultimately, it's how fast you move, how fast the puck moves, how you make the defense react quickly. And right now, the Hurricanes are doing everything deliberately. And this is what happens. I know it sounds like a broken freaking record, but this is what happens when you've got no offensive confidence. When you don't have that, everything looks slower. And to me, that's the problem. So I got two different questions about it today. If Jeff Daniels is running the power play, he should be fired. We need to talk about, nobody is coaching the team to move the puck slower. Nobody's saying, hey, guys, relax. Let's just casually pass the puck around and maybe we'll find a backdoor play. Nobody's doing that. The guys go on the ice, and if there's not a level of desperation or if there's not a high enough level of confidence, it's going to look like that. And today was, no good. It wasn't egregiously bad, but it was close. Honestly, if you can't score in the last 4:43 was when Andrei Svechnikov and who was it? Harley? I don't know who it was. When they fought. With 4:43 left, they fought. Now there was a 4-minute double minor for a high stick to Martinook that Andrei didn't like, and Carolina was going to get 4 minutes power play time, double minor, at the 4:43 mark of the third period. I put this on Twitter. If you can't score a power play goal in 4 minutes against a team with a 73% kill rate, then you deserve to lose the game. And I stand by that. Carolina asked to lose the game in overtime to Calgary. They asked for it. Fortunately, the Hurricanes signed paychecks to Sebastian Aho, so that didn't happen. But you deserve to lose the game after that. Or at least you deserve to not get both points. So the power play, and these are the numbers. By the way, I said on Twitter 0 for 7 because at one point that's what NHL.com had. They had Carolina as 0 for 7. I don't know why. But the Hurricanes are 0 for 6 in the power play tonight. They are, in the calendar year 2025, 5 for 65. 5 for 65. Now, pardon me while I pull out my calculator. 5 divided by 65 is 7.7%. 7.7% in this calendar year. No good. Duh. On the other side, the Hurricanes' penalty kill, which is still third in the NHL, gave up a power play goal tonight. Over the last 8 games, not good. They have given up 8 power play goals in the last 8 games. 3 times they have given up multiple power play goals, and they have given up a power play goal in 4 consecutive. First time they've done that all year. They are 17 for their last 25 on the kill. Granted, I kind of think that for the most part, the kill's been good, but there are still 8 power play goals in the last 25. And Carolina, that's 68%. If you're not scoring goals, man, you can't give them up. By the way, tonight, I thought Pyotr Kochetkov played well, but I didn't like the goal. Went through him. Can't let a goal go through you. Not from a tough angle like that. Anyway, with all of that said, we're gonna heap some praise on Kochetkov here in a minute. But those are the special teams numbers of late. 5 for 65 in 2025. 13 for 66 against in 2025. So let me do that math. 53 divided by 66. 80% in 2025. I mean, it's okay. It's not awesome, but you see where that number is coming down from what's, the last 8 games when you've given up 8. So if we take, math, live math is always awesome, isn't it? 5 divided by 41. It was 88% in 2025 until this stretch. So now it's 80%. So Carolina, I mean, you got to get the penalty kill back working, at least shutting teams out as they mostly have. But, the power play has to get going. But I do think the power play gets going simply because you just have to move the puck better. And honestly, nobody's this bad. But this is what happens when you have zero confidence. And they've got zero confidence. All right, let me talk really quickly about Pyotr Kochetkov. Because yesterday we talked about if we were going to find one positive in the game, is that Frederik Andersen, for the most part, played well. Again, didn't love the goal. The shorthanded goal, which there were a lot of players that made mistakes. Brent Burns out of position. Jackson Blake thought he was going to be in a certain place. He wasn't. Pass back, not there. Then Burns gets beat on the block out by Adam Henrique. But honestly, it's a bad rebound by Anderson, who was otherwise good in a very, very, that was a 2-1 game until the empty net goal. By the way, yesterday's power play goal was the empty net goal. So this is where the stats sometimes can get a little blurry. But Kochetkov was really good early. Really good early. As I wrote down, Matt Coronado had 2 great chances early in the second period. One of them on a 2-on-1. Kochetkov makes a great save. Connor Zary, really the next shift down the ice, hit the outside of the post from the right faceoff circle. Kadri from the left circle, well below the left circle. Kochetkov makes a great save. Then the Joel Farabee breakaway. This was a puck that bounced over Dmitry Orlov. Man, you like to see Orlov keep that puck. I mean, you don't have to keep it in the zone, but you can't let it get past you. You just cannot do that. But he did. Farabee comes in a breakaway. Kochetkov, very steady save. And then there was another, he stops Morgan Frost with a poke check. Then there was a backdoor, a backland pass to Coronado on the power play. It was really a redirect, and Kochetkov read the play and got over and got a glove. Glove was tight to his body, too, which didn't happen on the power play goal by Kadri in the third period. So he was so good in the first 10 minutes of the second period, because that was really the only time in the game where Calgary was threatening at all at 5-on-5. That was it. Because Carolina just had the puck all game long. And then Carolina gets the goal. You get the Slavin goal from Blake. And by the way, the power play the Hurricanes got, Jarvis had a great opportunity. I think he just shot it high. Now, the Hurricanes got to put more of these shots. I watch when I have come out to watch practice, or when you see them warm up before games. Man, these guys are going bar down all game. Can somebody go bar down? Man, we hit the goalie a lot. All right, couple of now with our remaining 10 minutes. This is more of a look. We know we've talked about the issues that Carolina has with the roster, and let me just, before I get to the Mikko Rantanen part of this equation, this is what I advocate for. Where Carolina is right now, and maybe what I'm going to advocate for happens after the fact. I would advocate for Scott Morrow and Bradley Nadeau to be here now. We know that Nadeau can score. Morrow is playing in all situations. He doesn't have to step in and be a number one top pair right shot blue liner, but he can play. I think, even though it wasn't a bad game at all for Brent Burns or Dmitry Orlov, they were fine today. I know Orlov had the mistake, but look, I'm not judging anything based on an anemic Flames offense. Calgary's the second worst offensive team in the league. Just dreadful offensive team. They have a couple of good players, but honestly, it ain't there for them. Although, I do like me some Joel Farabee. I don't know why. I just kind of do. Anyway, I'd be all about Scott Morrow playing and Dmitry Orlov not. And some of you would be okay with Scott Morrow playing and Brent Burns not. Again, reasonable people can disagree about whether or not Burns has been a positive or not. I'd like to see him play fewer minutes, and he was 18 and a half minutes roughly tonight. It's a pretty low number for Brent Burns, considering that the Hurricanes had a lot of power play time, even though he's now on the second unit. But they also had to kill off penalties, and he's a good penalty killer. And normally he's playing with Jaccob Slavin, who played actually only 20 minutes tonight too. But against Calgary, you can spread things out a fair amount. And Shane Gostisbehere played over 21 minutes tonight. Actually led Carolina's blue line in time on ice. Orlov, I think, was second. Anyway, so I'd be in favor of Morrow coming up and playing, getting into the lineup. Not in a 11-7 situation, but playing. And the way Bradley Nadeau is scoring goals in the American Hockey League, Carolina needs goals. Maybe it's him. I'd give it a shot. Again, you've got roster issues that you have to address. So, look, if you send Tyson Jost down and bring up Bradley Nadeau, you can use Jack Roslovic in the middle and let Bradley Nadeau play. I mean, that line, the Roslovic, Jost, Robinson line played under 10 minutes tonight. Bradley Nadeau, you want to bring Bradley Nadeau up to play less than 10 minutes. Maybe you get some offense out of it. I got no problem with that. I wouldn't mind seeing it at all. On top of the fact that, who knows? Maybe you catch a little lightning in a bottle and you get a little juice from a rookie who comes in, starts scoring a few goals. That's what I would be in favor of right now for this roster. All right, now to the Mikko Rantanen conundrum. So this is the way I look at it. Deadline is Friday, and the Hurricanes have a decision to make. It does not appear he's going to sign a contract between now and Friday. That doesn't mean he won't ever sign a contract. And honestly, I never for a single second thought that he would sign a contract by Friday. But let me ask the question. This is it's not really a rhetorical question. I'm going to paint a scenario where he comes to management and says, I love these guys. I want to win a Stanley Cup with these guys, but I am not signing here in the offseason. Let's make that a scenario. What do you do? Think about it. Think about it. What do you do if you're the Hurricanes and he tells you, I love this team. I want to try to win a cup with these guys, but on July 1st, I'm going to be a free agent and I'm going somewhere else. I'm not going to sign. Now, the Hurricanes know this. This is knowledge. Knowledge is power. What do you do? I'll tell you what I would do. Because I want to have an honest assessment of this roster right now, and we have watched it now for 61 games. This roster, I mean, anything can happen. But I said this a few weeks ago. I think if the Hurricanes win a round in the Stanley Cup playoffs, I would consider that a good season, a good result for this year. Remember where we were at the beginning of the season. Before the season started, everybody dumping on the roster. I said it was a playoff team. I didn't think it was going to be a Stanley Cup contender. I said we're going to be a playoff team. And I still think they are. They are a playoff team. Can they stay ahead of the Devils and get home ice advantage? I think they can. I don't know if they will. Got to play better than they're playing now, but I think they can. And if you can get home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs, you can definitely win. Hey, maybe somebody upsets Washington in the first round of the playoffs. I think Washington could absolutely lose an opening round playoff series. Heck, they could lose to, I don't know, Columbus or Detroit. More so Columbus, I think, than Detroit, but you never know. Heck, the Rangers could sneak into the back end of the playoffs. Again, I'm not rooting for that. Not because I don't want to see the Rangers, but I kind of dig the Columbus Blue Jackets story. I kind of dig what the Red Wings are doing. So I don't think it's a guarantee that Washington wins a first-round playoff series. I've watched Washington. They're playing. They're struggling a little bit now, but I think they are better than their individual parts. I think they are not very vulnerable, but I will not be shocked if you told me that Washington lost in 6 games in round 1 of the playoffs. I'd be like, yeah, I'd see it. So it wouldn't take that much for Carolina to win 2 playoff rounds, or at least have home ice advantage for 2 playoff rounds. And I give Carolina more than a puncher's chance getting into the playoffs. But again, I think if they won a round, man, that'd be pretty good. Is that worth, I'll call it the embarrassment, because I think it would be. The embarrassment of Rantanen walking away on July 1 and the Hurricanes recouping a 3rd-round draft pick in exchange for the rights to negotiate with Rantanen, just like Tampa did last year with Guentzel. Is that worth it? Or, now here's the other part of that, the other option when I say, do you ride it out, try to win, blah, blah, blah. Because, again, I think the Hurricanes, it would be a good result with Rantanen if they were to win a round in the playoffs. Or do you see what's out there and flip Rantanen for something that you need? Defenseman who can skate. Preferably a right shot, but not 100% necessary that it is a right shot. Always remember this. Jalen Chatfield can play his offside. Do you do something like that? Do you flip him for a goalie? Do you flip him for, I don't know, you trade Rantanen for John Gibson right now? I'm not saying Gibson is the answer, but I think we all agree Carolina needs an upgrade in goal. So either scenario comes, in my opinion, comes with a level of embarrassment. The embarrassment of trading for a player like Mikko Rantanen, giving up Necas and Jack Drury, and a 2nd-round pick, and a 4th-round pick. I mean, all these things matter. And whatever you ship to Chicago. Giving up all of that and maybe not getting a great piece. And when the whole thing is said and done, is everything you gave up worth, for John Gibson, who may or may not be great when you get him, right? He ain't the starter, by the way, in Anaheim right now, right? It's Lucas Dostal. So can you do that? Does that even work? Would Anaheim do that? These are more abstract thoughts. What I'm talking about here, I'm trying to get to here, is the embarrassment of having him walk away at the end of the season when you've only won 1 round of the playoffs, or maybe you get beat in the first round, which is on the table. Is that embarrassment worse than the admission that we weren't going to be able to sign him, it wasn't working, and we're going to flip him for less than you gave up to get him, but maybe something that you really do need? Got to think about all of those things. So the perception, if he leaves, what does that say about the Carolina Hurricanes? And I said this a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago on the radio show. I said, if you move Rantanen, there is an admission that Mikko or a player like him won't play here. Whether that is fair or not, that is the perception. And part of that perception was born last July when Jake Guentzel signed with Tampa Bay. I'm going to tell you, you don't have to believe me, but I'm telling you this is the absolute truth. Jake Guentzel wanted to be a Carolina Hurricane. Wanted. He wanted to stay. It was a major mistake by the Hurricanes front office. Major mistake. And you can blame whoever you want. Every single decision when it comes to a contract comes through one person. Every single decision on contracts comes through one person. And I know a ton about the negotiation, several negotiations with Aho, with Svechnikov, with Jarvis. I know about all these things. I know how they went down. I've talked about both Aho contract. There have been 3 Aho contract negotiations, 2 of which went poorly, 1 of which went well. And to be perfectly honest, they overpaid the last time. Cost them. Definitely cost them. I love Sebastian. $9.75 million, probably a little bit too much for somebody who isn't one of those guys, right? He's not in that category. He's not in that class. He's a great player. I love him. But he's, again, what do I always say about Sebastian? He's more gumbo, man. He's slow heat. Just gets you over time. Unless it's 3-on-3 overtime, then he's the best player on earth. So Jake Guentzel wanted to be here. Had the Hurricanes met the offer of $8 million for 8 years, 2 weeks prior to July 1, Jake Guentzel would have signed the contract. Martin Necas would have been used as a trade to get a first-round pick. They would have figured out how to get Seth Jarvis done, and we would have moved on. And Jake Guentzel would be here to be the second most popular number 59 in Hurricanes history behind Chad LaRose. But because Guentzel's not here, the narrative is players like that don't want to be here. That is false, but that's the narrative. And now, if you miss on Rantanen, it just reinforces that mindset. So, if you're the Hurricanes, either way, if he gives you an indication by Friday that he is not going to re-sign here, you have to decide when you want your embarrassment pill. Do you want it on July 1 when he signs somewhere else, or do you want it on Friday when you move him for an asset that you need? There you go. Think about that between now and Friday. At what time? 3 o'clock? Trade deadline Friday at 3? Think about that. So, what I would do, because I think, good or bad, I think they're going to know in their bones whether or not he's going to resign. Might not be public, but I think they're going to know in their bones whether or not he's going to resign. And if I don't believe he will, I would move him along. Absolutely move him along. He's a great player, but I will posit this to you. It's possible, I think, that the Hurricanes can be very good, even great, without a player like Mikko Rantanen. I do want to point out, in the Eastern Conference Finals against Florida, while Florida was absolutely the better team, I would say the Hurricanes probably should have won game 1. 4 one-goal games. I think they should have won game 1. Wasn't game 2 overtime as well? Again, I'm not saying Carolina was better than Florida. They weren't. Florida was better. But there were opportunities to win these games. It's been a minute since Carolina's really played their game. This team, since the acquisition of Rantanen and Hall, really hasn't. So, I mean, in stretches, they did against Buffalo, beginning of that game. Kind of went away a little bit. But they dominated the puck. Just wasn't it was just ugly. Tonight, they dominated the puck, but really didn't live behind Calgary's defense. And it was a sleepy game. Anyway, that's my long dissertation, if you will, on Carolina between now and Friday. Have to figure out what your chances are. Is this team with Rantanen good enough to win a Stanley Cup? Can you close your eyes and say, yep, this team right here? I don't think it is. You might be able to get out of the East with a couple of, and maybe some guys playing better. Also, and this is a real possibility, if you can get through the first round of the playoffs, maybe Alexander Nikishin shows up. Heck, maybe he shows up in the first round of the playoffs if they get bounced out of the KHL playoffs in the first round. Because they'll be done by the middle of April by that point. Something to think about. All right. Look, they needed 2 points. Sebastian Aho got him 2 points. Moving on. Detroit on Tuesday. Boston here on Thursday. And then fireworks on Friday. Maybe. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job. You should check them out. Aluminumcompany.com. Rate, review, subscribe, like. What else do you do? I don't know. Tell your friends. And again, as I said at the beginning, Carolina's power play problems, they're yours. It's your fault because you haven't told enough people about the Canes Corner podcast. Shouts to all of you. We'll get back to shout outs on Tuesday after the Hurricanes take on the Red Wings. Hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. The Hurricanes split with the province of Alberta. Are we still friends with Canada? I'm not sure. See everybody Tuesday. Bye.